Hi guys, welcome to episode 6 of What's the Tea with Dan and sometimes Adam. Hey guys, so it has been a while since the last video. A lot of things have happened since then, and I don't think it was necessary to kind of film them all because some of it is just things that I don't think people want to see. So, as we said before in our last episode, we were waiting on results from the ultrasound to move forward with Jenny, who was our donor of choice. So, she got her ultrasound done, and I don't know if I already went through this in the last one, but here's a recap. Anyway, she got her ultrasound done, and in her one ovary it was good, and in the other ovary there was a cyst, so we couldn't see how many follicles there were. So after that, we kind of thought of a plan B, and me and Adam agreed that we would try to cycle her twice. So that means that we would do one round, freeze the eggs that we get, and then move on and do another round. And Jenny, of course, was open to doing this, so we were so happy about that. So that was our plan going forward, and we just had to approve it by our doctors and then see what he decided. So after we had this plan set in our head that maybe the first time we would get 10 eggs, and then the next time we would get 10 eggs, and then we would split those 20 between both of us, that was our plan. So it seemed great. It seemed like it would happen, and we had hopes for everything to work out. So I think 2 days after or a day after, we spoke to our doctor and our nurse, and they told us that they highly recommended we did not do that just because they understand what we want, and the process of freezing eggs and freezing embryos is not always as successful as a fresh donation. So they put us back on the drawing board, and they told us that we should move away from using Jenny as our egg donor. And as you've seen before, you could probably imagine how I was emotionally. This time I didn't break down as much. I think it set in my head that it wasn't going to happen, so I understood it a little bit more. And speaking to the doctor really helped us come to that decision. So then I reached out to Christina, who was the agency that we're working with Jenny, and I said, hey, if Jenny's open to talking, ask her if we can exchange contacts. I didn't know. On my end, I like talking to everyone. I try to make sure everyone's happy. I'm a people pleaser, and I thought maybe just being able to talk to her would kind of give us both closure, because I think we both needed that at this point. It was like a month of texting and doing tests and hoping for the best, and it all was so meaningful, and it meant a lot. So I just wanted to thank her for that. So I asked if we could exchange phone numbers, and I didn't hear anything. So I thought, it is what it is. I guess she didn't want to be our friend and she didn't want to talk. Then a few days later, I got a text message from Christina, and it had Jenny's phone number. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, she wants to be our friend. So I kind of freaked out. I had a little heart attack, but I was super excited to kind of talk to her. I remember not knowing what to say when I texted her the first time. I said, oh my God, hi Jenny, it's Dan. And as soon as I sent that text, she responded within like a second. So as soon as I saw it, I saw the 3 little dots popping up that she was responding, and I was like having a heart attack. But it was so nice to talk to her. It was so nice to be able to communicate one-on-one with her. Me and Adam wanted to work with her for so long, and we were trying to figure out ways to make it work, and it just didn't work out. So it was really nice to get to know her and talk to her and explain to her like how our doctors are, and I think it gave us both closure. And I didn't know what it was going to come to, but now we are friends. So I definitely think that people are brought into this world for a certain reason. And although Jenny wasn't the right person for us to use, we still are in contact with her, and we still love her, and she loves us, and it's crazy how quick of a relationship you can build with someone. And now we have this foundation of moving forward with someone else. And we talked about how we still want to be in contact with each other. She's amazing, and I hope she's watching this because she did watch all the other videos. So I just wanted to say hi, Jenny, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. But it was amazing, and I think that we are so thankful that she is the person who she is, because there wouldn't be other people that did all this for us, especially being a first-time donor. It really meant a lot, and I'm so glad that we're able to talk because it's exciting, and I feel like I made a new friend that lives in another state, and we actually found out that she lives about an hour away from where Barbie will deliver the baby or babies. So you never know, we might meet Jenny one day when we go up there, maybe for a doctor's appointment, or maybe when there's babies being born. I'm sure we'll be there for a few days. Maybe we can meet her one day, and I'm sure we'll stay in contact. So that was super exciting. And then it was time to start looking again for egg donors. Remind you, this is now round 3. At this point, I don't even remember who was the first egg donor and what the doctor said moving forward with them. I kind of just was open to it all again. And this time Adam actually started looking first before me, just because he knew that I did so much last time. So Adam went through a website, and this was a website that we looked at originally. It's a bigger website, and they work with donors and surrogates. So they know what they're doing, and they've done it a million times. And within an hour, he found someone not basically looking by just the pictures, but looking at the previous donations. So basically, this person has donated a few months ago and produced over 36 eggs, which is amazing. Our doctor said to look for someone that has produced over 20, so 36 is great. And after her 36 eggs were taken out, I think 32 embryos were created, or 32 embryos matured, which is a very, very high rate. So we were super excited to see those results. At first, I wasn't sold on it, and I think this is just because I was so butthurt about it not working out with Jenny, but I needed to realize that in order to achieve that goal of us being parents and moving forward, I needed to kind of move on and just focus on that goal. So we reached out to the agency and placed her on hold for a few days just to kind of think about it, kind of go through a few different websites just in case there was someone else out there. And then I think it was a day before we had to make a decision on this donor. And I'm not going to say names because nothing's official yet. So I don't want to say anyone's names, but the lady that we originally were working with, her name was Christina. She sent us a message saying, hey, I know you guys are looking at other agencies, but we do have a new donor coming in who was blonde, very pretty, and produced over 20 eggs. So she kind of threw us this curveball, and it kind of, I think it was at the right time, because at that time, we didn't make a decision. We didn't know what we were doing moving forward. So getting a profile from someone who has donated before, we were kind of stuck between two people. We had the girl that Adam found and the girl that this agency sent us. So they were both proven, and it was kind of like a race against the clock. Our doctor said we needed to make a decision by that Thursday, and I believe it was Wednesday, and her medical records still weren't into Christina, so we were still waiting on a lot of that information. So there was a lot of questions that we didn't have answered, and Christina basically went above and beyond and tried to get all that information to us within 48 hours. And it was kind of crazy because in the beginning we didn't have an egg donor. We were kind of looking for just one, and then we were left with 2 options, and we had to make a decision really, really quick. So we basically spoke to our doctor, and the doctor looked at both donors' medical records, and he told us to move forward with the person that Adam found that had 36 eggs. And he said, if you guys wanted a boy and a girl, and you want twins, and you want to be able to pick all of this stuff, this is your best bet. So as soon as we heard that, we reached out, we took her off hold, and we signed the contract. And from my knowledge of signing contracts, it doesn't really mean anything because someone can always back out or things couldn't work out. But she's already medically cleared by our doctor. So that's a big plus. We don't have to do any more of the AMH testing. We don't have to do any ultrasound. So all that stuff is taken care of. And since she donated a few months ago, we're in the clear to go. And we're hoping that she does 36 eggs again for us or around there, or maybe even more, you never know. So we're excited to move forward, and we're excited that this is potentially the final choice for our egg donor. And we just have to see what happens. We have a meeting with her on Thursday, this Thursday. Today is Tuesday, so in 2 days we have a Zoom meeting with her where we're going to be face to face, which is I think the first time that we've done that. With the previous donors, we didn't really meet face to face. It was never a one-on-one conversation, so we're excited for that. We did find out that she is a twin. She has a twin sister, and she has 3 kids, so we're super excited that there's a possibility of us matching with this donor. So I just wanted to kind of keep you guys up to date. I know this is 11 minutes now of me just talking, but I wanted to show everyone what this process was like and how it's not easy. It's super frustrating. There's days where I wanted to give up. There's days where I was so happy, and then an hour later I was so sad, and it's just been a journey, to say the least. And I want to be able to look back on these videos in the future and say, wow, remember when that happened? Remember when this happened? And everything with Barbie is great. We are ready to move forward. As soon as these embryos are created, it's go time. So we're hoping that everything moves smoothly for the next few weeks. So keep your fingers crossed. Again, just an update, and that's really it. If I have anything else, I'll record something else for you guys, but I feel like that's been a lot. So yeah, Jenny was not a match for us, but now we're friends, so we're super excited about that. And now we're moving forward with another donor whose name I'm not going to tell you right now because I don't want to jinx anything. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, I wanted to kind of go over how the whole process of creating an embryo goes, because some people are still confused as to why we need so many follicles and eggs, and it doesn't make sense, especially if you're not going through this process, the reason why we need so many. So if our goal is to have twins, we need to implant 2 embryos into our surrogate, and that does not guarantee that they both will stick. So there's still a chance that we will only end up with 1 embryo that sticks. So if that happens, we'll probably have to go on this whole journey again. But we're keeping our fingers crossed that they both stick once they're implanted. So getting to that point where there are 2 embryos is a whole process. So I have explained the follicle count. The follicle count basically is predicting how many eggs are going to be produced by the donor. So if there's, let's say, 32 follicles there is a high chance that you will get around 30 eggs from that donor. So what happens after the fact that she starts her medications is the doctor goes in and the doctor will take out the eggs that are produced and basically create an embryo. So let's say for good math, let's say there are 30 eggs that were pulled out, and it's a little surgery. The donor gets knocked out, and it's quick. It's like a 20-minute thing. So let's say 30 eggs get taken out. What's going to happen next is they're going to inject the sperm into the eggs, and they watch them to see how fast they grow. So if you're starting off with 30 eggs, it seems like a lot, but after 5 days of them growing, a lot of them don't make it through, or some of them won't make it through. So let's say we start with 30, and let's say after 5 days, 10 don't make it through because they're not growing. So that leaves us with 20. Then after the 20, they start to watch the embryos, and they watch to see if they are splitting, if they're starting to duplicate, if they're starting to grow at a certain rate. So once they check that out, then they do genetic testing, which looks at the chromosomes and all that fun stuff. So that number 20 can really reduce down to at least 10. After they do genetic testing, They then have to go in and they have to grade your eggs. So it's basically on a scale of good, okay, and bad. So if you end up with 10 eggs that were growing and past genetic testings, then there is a step where you have to get your eggs graded. The higher the grade of the egg, the better success you will have at it sticking and you being pregnant. So ultimately what we're aiming for is for the eggs to be super great, and that 10 could quickly go down to 2. If we only have 2 eggs from each side, so let's say I have 2 and Adam has 2 in a perfect world, that usually doesn't happen. It's not usually even. One father usually has more than the other. Then the last thing they will tell us are the sexes of the embryos. So let's say I wanted a boy and Adam wanted a girl. If I only have 2 good eggs that made it through and both of them are a girl, then they're going to tell us to implant one of those and I'll end up with a girl. So there's a lot of what ifs that are going to happen throughout this whole process, but I felt like I needed to explain this. They did say that you could insert eggs that are on the medium level, but again, you're taking that risk of them not working. So ultimately, we are hoping to have lots of eggs that pass genetic testing and that grow during those 5 days. So we have the biggest choice of the best eggs and the sexes that we prefer. Ultimately, we might end up with 2 girls, we might end up with 2 boys, we might end up with a boy and a girl, we might end up with 1 kid, we might end up with 2. So it's crazy how science works, and it's crazy how this whole process is. Some people don't understand it, so I wanted to explain that. But I think I got most of it. So hopefully you learned a little bit from this, and I'll go through and I'll explain what happens whenever we have a donor that does this, so you can have an idea of what we achieved. So yeah, if you have not already, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below, just to keep following our journey. Hopefully things from here on out move smoothly. I don't want to deal with any more bumps in the road or any roller coaster rides, because emotionally I can't do it, but I just want that end goal to happen. I can't wait to have a baby or babies. Me and Adam are so ready for this. We've been planning this for years now, so it just needs to happen. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will keep you guys updated in the next episode of how our meeting goes with our donor. See you later. Bye. Say bye, Callie. Ooh. Bye.